playoff implications or the fantasy implications here?
Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure.
Let's talk some fantasy implications. Welcome, everybody, to NFL episode 35 of the BudHole podcast. Or is it 35, right?
35.
Welcome, everybody, to 35. We have Scott, Gage's Rage, and
What?
myself, Brandon, all here, ready to rock and roll. Star Lamar, unfortunately, is not with us. He sent Scott a personal text message. What is he doing? Where is he at again?
He said, I love you and I miss you, but I won't be able to make it tonight. And I said, why won't you be able to make it tonight? And he said, because my car broke down. And I said, well, we don't make enough money on the BudHole yet for somebody else to fix it for you. So you're going to have to do that yourself. I guess you won't make it.
Support. Buy some T-shirts from Teespring, please, so Star can be on the next podcast.
God damn it. The fucking link to buy T-shirts is right in the fucking info for the episode. It's really easy. You just click the link, pick
below
what you want, and fucking buy it. Buy one for your daughter, buy one for your son, buy one for your wife, buy one for your deceased grandmother. I don't care, but buy them.
Every T-shirt sale sends $3 towards Star's car repair. Do you
Yes,
want him
most
to be
importantly,
able to work?
buy one for Star.
People.
You know, the NFL does like fundraising and stuff to feed COVID-19 families and people that lose their jobs and are homeless. We need to raise money on BudHole sweatshirts and T-shirts for Star Lamar.
We just want alternators in cars. That's all we want. We're simple people.
I'm going to make a declaration right here, right now. Here at the BudHole, we're pro working alternators in vehicles.
I'm so on board for that. 100%.
I'm going to upvote. All right, the upvote. There we go. Everybody wants the upvotes.
Just raise your hand.
The upvotes are what we're looking for. So
Yes, upvotes. We need
upvotes. Alternators in cars? Yeah. Duh.
All in.
So Brandon and I.
News.
What, kids?
In other power-related news, the NFL hosted the 2020 draft virtually over the weekend.
They did.
And what do you boys think? Instant reactions. Our team, the Minnesota Vikings.
Did you listen to our previous podcast, Gage's Rage?
The one I was supposed to be on. No, I did not.
Yeah, the two of them that you're 2 or 3.
Oh, the two I was not going to be on. No,
yes.
I didn't listen to any of them.
Wow,
yet.
we had some hot takes, hotter than fire. But since you weren't there, I will answer.
A++?
Vikings?
Yes.
A+++.
Because, I mean, we basically filled every fucking need we had, right?
In a nutshell. We had first round, obviously we took Jefferson and Gladney, which were both solid picks. We needed both those guys filling in Diggs' spot. And then, obviously, we lost 3 corners this year. Let's see. I'll just pull up the draft list here if I can never get to it.
And while you're looking that up here really quick, I'd like to add Gladney was after a trade down. So that was good. You picked up a little extra draft capital. One thing I would say regarding just the draft as a whole on night one, I personally am a big fan of the virtual draft. I liked it a lot. I liked seeing all the prospects in their homes with their families. It kind of showed a little more human side of Goodell to have him down in the basement at his house and interacting on the TV with the fans. Brandon and I did touch on that a little bit on Thursday night's podcast. So I would ask Gage, what was your kind of feel of the draft? Did it feel good to you? Did it feel awkward? What did you think of it?
It was a touch awkward, but for the circumstances, totally understandable. I love Goodell letting the fans go in with the interaction, doing the boos. That needed to happen, and I'm glad it did.
It's a tradition. You need tradition, right?
Yeah. We need that tradition. Third point, and probably last one, I did enjoy the at home with grandma and your aunties all in the picture, but I also kind of enjoy these guys getting a night to be superstars. Maybe these guys have that career where they sign million dollar contracts and get lots of those opportunities, but some of these guys only have one night to dress up from head to toe, be a baller, go down on a spotlight stage and shake hands with the commissioner of the NFL. You know, that is something that I enjoy and kind of missed. But all the the virtual draft went pretty damn well.
I actually couldn't agree more with that. That's a really good point. And quite honestly, I didn't even think of that. I love that point, and that's a very good argument to say that you want an in-person draft.
It's their biggest night to shine. You know, like you said, a lot of these players, I think Scott made the comment on one of our podcasts, about 33% don't even get a second contract by any team.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then another 33% are out of the league in 5 years. So this is most likely the biggest night of these guys' lives, at least professionally. Some of them just in general, you know. So for them they still got some of the recognition, although it seemed like every story they told, it was somebody who got shots or, you know, had some cancer or whatever the deal was. It's, you know, it's heartwarming and everything, but when there's 6,000 people that they tell the story on, it gets a little old.
Yeah, and I don't know how your guys' draft experience was. I was at my brother's house with a couple buds, chilling, and we were just bullshitting between picks. So the stories kind of just flew over our heads. Oh, pick selection's in. Tuned in and shut up. But yeah, it wasn't. It didn't catch us the way I'm sure it caught some other people who were just focused on the show.
Yeah, Scott and I watched it together, and yeah, I mean, we tuned into a lot of the picks and what they were saying and stuff. One thing that I thought was better when it's in person is obviously they go up on stage, they do the handshake or the hug, they get the jersey, and not everybody in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, you know, most of them don't even get to go up there and do anything. It's a fan coming on, or, you know, accomplished person in the community in their area that gets to say something about the team and then, you know, makes a selection for them. But those first rounders, you get that, but then you also get, I feel, a little bit more of a camaraderie with people when they're in person doing the analysis on things. Otherwise, it's like when we're doing these Zoom chats. I'm talking here for a minute, and you guys are kind of sitting back and letting me do my thing. And the back and forth is a little bit different. Like, I have the floor forever until I'm ready to be done talking, and there's no, like, jumping in and really having that conversation about what the pick was.
For sure. And in person, that can be a way better interaction. So like we said, that just a touch of awkwardness, but I think if this became a new norm, or if this was how it's supposed to be moving forward, it would get better and better.
Oh, absolutely. They would fine tune it for sure. They're the biggest sports organization in the country, so one of the biggest in the world. They would have to do something.
So I'm sure you guys talked about this, but what was like maybe a first day or second day surprise? You know, something you really didn't expect that just knocked your socks off in a good or bad.
I feel like Brandon and I, we can kind of give ours. We'll give a quick recap, and then we'll let you kind of run with it too, Gage. But
Sure.
For me, one big surprise, quite honestly, to me, there was a couple. The first one was Andrew Thomas being the first tackle off the board. Most people had him being the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think I'd say it's a shocker, but it was a surprise. And then the other was Simmons getting drafted by Arizona. I thought Arizona was going to go offensive tackle, and they still had 3 choices to at 4 tackle at the time when they took Simmons. And then the third one to me was obviously Green Bay trading up to draft Jordan Love, and that one was a true shocker.
I'd say
hammered me. I mean, I could not believe that. You have a stud Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers, and you haven't got him a single skill position player in the first round his entire career. And then you're going to Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, like, knocked my socks off. They could have had the guy at 30, probably, right?
Yeah.
You trade up
I
4
think so.
spots, and what did we have, a 4th or a 3rd?
I think a 4th.
I was
a 4th. The value to give up for him, I didn't think was like that bad. I thought, you know, giving up a 4th round to move up 4 spots to get your quarterback is fine. But I think what they needed versus getting him, that was a bad pick. For me, that was
because wasn't linebacker Queen still on the board there?
Oh, yeah.
Queen was still there. I think Kenneth Murray went a pick before them maybe, or a pick after. Murray went like 25. So
yeah,
he was the other stud. But
they need help in so many places. To trade up to get a backup QB And actually, what kind of shocked me more was the running back selection in the second round. Like,
Yeah, A.J. Dillon in the second round when you have Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams
Jamal
both on
Williams.
the roster. Like,
Jamal Williams is a very fucking good running back for them. I mean, maybe not making the most impactful decisions or impactful plays, but as a backup, he filled that role pretty damn well.
and I mean, people say that Dillon has high potential, which is great, whatever. But you already have 2 running backs on your roster. Unless you're planning on getting rid of most likely Jamal Williams, then Dillon, it makes sense.
Yep.
I mean, maybe there's more with Williams. I think he came back last year. Maybe there's health concerns with him. That's the same thing with Joe Staley retiring. You know, they brought in Trent Williams, which everybody was a little shocked, and then you heard the news. So
Yeah,
possibly, but
aren't they both like third-year guys?
I think so. I think they might have been drafted in the same year.
They're for sure the same draft, and I think Jamal Williams was taken around earlier than Aaron Jones, if I remember right.
Yeah, you're right. He was. And yeah, they were both in the same draft. And Aaron Jones will be looking for a new contract after this year, I believe. He's coming into a contract year.
Maybe what they thought was, yeah, they're both coming into contract years. Maybe they don't want to extend the 5th-year option on both of them. Maybe they don't want – I mean, they probably can't afford to give a contract to both either, you know. Williams is going to want money. Jones is going to want money. Maybe
they were
figuring
like 3rd and 4th round picks, so there's no 5th-year option.
Okay.
Correct. It's 4 true years.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So, yeah, their contracts are coming up. Maybe it's just a fail-safe. They think Williams they're going to let him go, or they're not going to re-sign him because of money, whatever, and they're just going to move on with Dillon. So, I mean, I get that. But at the same time, A.J. Dillon could have been drafted later, for one. And for two, like, you draft Love there. You could have gotten T. Higgins, Denzel Mims, and there was a handful of other pretty, like, that second-tier level of wide receivers you could have got to go on the other side of Adams. Valdez-Scantling is not going to do the trick for you. And there's a reason why the Packers have not won another Super Bowl, and it's because Aaron Rodgers can only do so much, and the pieces around you matter. Even if he's very, very good, the pieces around you matter, and they're not doing a good enough job filling those spots.
There's something to be said for, and I think we would all admit it. I will take every chance that I can get, and I'll even at times create chances to shit on Green Bay. And when I say at times, I mean quite often I will create a chance to. But when they do what they did in this draft, the fucking ammunition's pretty much all there. You don't have to do much work. You just got to walk up to that big old bag of ammo and fire away.
All you have to say is Jordan.
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, it's the consensus. Love was the consensus worst pick in the first, or worst pick. Even he might be a good player. He could pan out in 5 years, but you're closing the window on your Hall of Fame quarterback is what you're doing.
Now, Green Bay fans are sitting back going, oh, if there's anything we know, it's quarterbacks. And props, you guys do. But, you know, it's a pretty cream situation when you get to sit behind one of the greatest to ever play for 3-4 years and figure out the game of football and catch up to speed and not have to learn on the ropes by week 4.
And who's to say they're that great at finding quarterback talent? They got lucky, you know, potential. They got 2 of them. They've had 2 quarterbacks over 20 years. They've had Matt Flynn, who sucked. He lost out to a rookie, which turned out to be Russell Wilson, and then he was out of the league in a couple of years. They drafted that Brett Hundley. People like him, but he's not going to be a starter in the NFL or a decent player. Like,
you could run
maybe,
through a list
but
of quarterbacks that they thought could be the predecessor that didn't turn out. But
exactly.
Let's remember here, too, that Green Bay says, oh, well, we drafted Rodgers in the first round. And that's true. But Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith were the consensus 1 and 2 quarterbacks in that draft. Aaron Rodgers had no business slipping to whatever spot he was drafted at, which was around 16 or 18, maybe even 20.
24 is picked.
24?
Yep. I actually did some research on NFL Draft Night, and if you guys could believe the next quarterback taken out of that draft, Paris Campbell.
Oh, really?
Wow.
So the gap between just skilled quarterbacks in that year was crazy. I think the only notable one was Jake Delhomme. Also in that draft, he was like a 6th or 7th round pick.
He was actually pretty decent.
Jake Delhomme was in that draft?
If I remember right, yeah.
Huh. I always
Um,
pictured Delhomme a little bit sooner than that, but maybe he just started right away in his career. We were only like 10 around that time. Just
Yeah.
wee little lads.
Just
So,
little
but
ups.
yeah, I mean, Rogers falling to them was a whole different situation. He fell to them and they drafted him. They made their move to get Jordan Love. And if you believe rumors, there was rumors today that they wanted to try and trade up to the Vikings to spot 22 and 25.
I heard
They
that.
tried trading up both spots to the purple. So they clearly were trying to move up to get Jordan Love. I think Gutekunst thinks that Rogers hasn't been the same the last few years as far as his mobility. He's one of the best kind of drag it out and kind of extend the play quarterbacks, and he hasn't been as good at that. So I'm wondering if Gutekunst isn't a little bit worried about that moving forward. But nonetheless, I mean, this is your last big hurrah with Rodgers. He's got 2, maybe 3 years left. And with this wide receiver class, you don't even draft one in even the 3rd, 5th, 7th rounds. You just say screw it. Like, I'm sorry, drafting a running back in the 2nd round. Yeah, you might plan on having Aaron Jones walk away, but you don't need to draft one in the 2nd round.
No.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
And at the
No.
same time, if you re-sign one of those guys, you could draft one next year, and odds of them being a fill-in spot for them would have been just fine. Get your wide receiver. Get your playmaker. Don't waste your quarterback's prime, which is all you just did there. Well,
And
he's
then
at the end of his
also
prime,
at the
but
same
nonetheless.
time, they're also wasting their quarterback's rookie contract. Where you look at some of the guys in the league right now, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Texans, they capitalized on a rookie quarterback being paid, a few million a year versus 10 times that once they sign their next contract. I mean, you are going to waste the best contract years of this rookie quarterback. Even if you pick up the 5th-year option, he'll probably play one of those years if they're lucky.
And then you have to make a decision if you want to sign him to a long-term contract based off of 1 year of play.
Or without any snaps, actual
Yeah.
snaps.
He might get a couple snaps in like a week 16 or 17 game or something, or a blowout game, either direction. But yeah, that's a great point. You're essentially wasting your rookie contract, and you're going to have to make a decision whether or not you want to move forward with the guy that you haven't really seen play in 4 years. And not to mention the way contracts are going, it's not going to be a cheap one either. He's not just going to take a $12 million deal. You're going to have to pay him probably 27, 28 million by that point.
Oh, by that point, you probably are looking at 35 or 40.
That could
It's,
be.
the way the cap's moving, it's going to be a crazy, crazy. They have to either correct stuff so that there's a base or a different average for the players, but quarterbacks get paid so much. It's wild.
I feel like quarterbacks shouldn't even count against the overall cap number. Quarterbacks should have their own metric, and it should almost just be percentage of total revenue divided by win total. There should be some sort of different denominator that they use for quarterbacks. And quite honestly, you'd probably get most quarterbacks to sign on that it precipitously goes up the longer they're in the league, and then it hits some sort of a climax to where that quarterback could then start signing contracts to whatever they want to.
I'd argue that win total might be – it's not really a stat that –
you could base 100% on a quarterback.
Yeah, because there's obviously a lot more that goes into it. And like Matt Stafford, he plays very well. He's led his team. I know you think he's a bust, but he still played pretty well.
He's a good fantasy quarterback. He doesn't play very well. How many wins does the fucker get?
But
he plays okay.
If he played for the Vikings, he'd have double the wins. Or really any other organization than Detroit.
If he played for the Vikings, you'd be ready to trade him away so fast because you'd be so frustrated that he doesn't win. He gets big numbers, but he doesn't win.
You're a hater, and I understand that. Matthew Stafford, he's a good quarterback. He's a hell of a quarterback.
He's fucking okay. He's slightly above average, and he's not worth the first pick in the draft.
His stats are skewed.
He's got a top 5 arm, man.
Top 5 arm based on what? You just throwing that out there to make me look stupid?
Arm strength.
Fucking that pigskin. But how often does it go to the right player?
More often than it goes to the wrong player.
Yes, but okay. I mean, stats suck. We already said that.
No, you said that.
I'm a big fan of that. Because again, like Stafford, garbage time stats, racking them up, making him look good with 10 straight seasons of 4,000 yards, whatever the fuck. But
I don't want to get too far off of the Stafford thing, but being we brought up that one-word fantasy, I think I should take the ball and run with this here quick. Gage, I truly want to know, where does your mind sit today, and based on a dynasty league perspective, knowing that the Lions drafted DeAndre Swift to cut off Kerryon Johnson, and then the Packers drafted, quite honestly, in a very good spot in the second round, A.J. Dillon to close off your Jamal Williams spot.
So you need to do your homework, because I traded Jamal Williams before last season to snag T.J. Hawkinson. So,
fuck.
A little,
All right.
little diddle daddle there. I got a sneaky young tight end and got rid of Jamal Williams with the writing on the wall. But I am pretty concerned with my boy Kerryon, my birthday buddy. Do I think he'll be a 1 and 2 down back? Maybe, but Swift is going to be on the field a lot. And
I will say this, dude. Swift does everything Kerryon does. He just does it all better.
Well, here's my dream scenario. They cut him. He gets picked up by another team, and he can really excel, because I do think he's a talented player. I will say my 3 first-round picks in the Dynasty draft are looking really hot right now. I'm looking at Minnesota players. I'm looking at running backs. I'm looking to reload my team this year.
Well, your team needs something.
Yeah, I was gonna say it needs a reload, man.
Hey, you guys are sleeping on me right now. I got one of the best young running quarterbacks in the league, Josh Allen.
Okay, good for you.
My wide receivers are deep, and I may have moved on D-Hop at just the right time.
Wide receivers are deep, but do they have the top end potential? I don't know. They're kind of like they're really strong from 55 to 35. They're very strong. Middle of the road, like wide receivers 2s and 3s, yeah, you got a lot of those. But you got maybe one wide receiver 1, maybe. And that's on a good day. That's if Keenan Allen has the Phillip Rivers that actually wants to throw to the time, the Chargers.
No, Phillip Rivers was not even looking at wide receivers. His best options were tight ends and running backs. So give me Tua, and hopefully this young motherfucker knows, throw the ball to your best player, and that is Keenan Allen. He'll get peppered with targets like he used to. Give that boy 10 targets, and he'll get you 6 for 85 in a time.
All right, Gage, I got a butthole bet with you. I bet you $10 that Tua Tagovailoa does not throw Keenan. Keenan Allen doesn't have 6 touchdowns this year from Tua.
Well, no, I'm not going to take that bet, because I think they're still going to roll with Tyrod Taylor.
Okay, let's say that this bet is void. If Tua doesn't get the starting job coming into week 1, the bet's off.
An injury clause as well?
If he gets injured as well and doesn't play more than, we'll say, 75% of the season, yeah, voided.
We're
not even 75.
If you win this bet, you have to use that $10 to buy split drinks at the bar. Void bet.
Okay.
So if he plays more than half the season, or if he doesn't play at least half the season, if he's not week 1 starter, it's a void bet.
Correct.
Tua starts week 1, plays most of the season. Allen doesn't get 6 tutties.
Correct.
From Tua.
All right.
Yeah.
Butthole bet.
I like it.
The bet's already null and void because they drafted Justin Herbert, not Tua.
Oh. Fuck you, bitch.
You like how I goaded you into that?
You played me so well. I'm like, Tua was your boy. I don't even realize why you're making this bet. Justin Herbert. Dude. You'll be chucking bombs to Keenan Allen, man. That's going to be an easy money. Do you want to make it?
I'm not betting that against you. You do realize my bet was that Tua doesn't throw 6, right? So, like, that bet's off.
But Tua's not going to be the Chargers starting quarterback by week 1, you bitch.
Well, that's why
so the bet's off.
No one would.
Unless we have seen a Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning trade swap. They might do it. Who knows?
Let me call the Chargers front office. I know I can pull some strings around there.
Who was Tua taken by again?
Miami
Dolphins.
That's right. I picked 5 with before. The
Yep.
Chargers.
Exactly.
But I'm trying to think here. I had one other thing that I was going to bring up, but I'm kind of blanking on it here.
In regards to
I
fantasy.
am kind of looking
Yeah.
at back in the
What about
fucking-
what do you think about Deontay Johnson's value now that the Steelers drafted Chase Claypool?
I'm not concerned whatsoever.
You don't
He's
think
gonna
so?
be wide receiver 1, so
You think Deontay is going to be the first one?
he is. He was a Pro Bowler last year. He's wide receiver.
Okay,
1.
Kirk Cousins was a Pro Bowler last year. There was a lot of Pro Bowlers last year. All right, a lot of people that made it because other people dropped out. So that's not necessarily a.
He was a Pro Bowler as a returner, but
Let's remember, too, though, Juju was
Even
hurt all
worse.
of last year.
he wasn't hurt all of last year. He's just not a 1. He's absolutely an excellent complement receiver, but he does not excel as a 1.
Yeah,
He was
complements
banged up.
number 2, 3, and 4 receivers.
I'm
He was
telling
banged up all of last year. Deontay Johnson didn't have Juju fighting with him really for touches all year because he was hurt all year. Juju was not right all year.
it's Deontay's team to lose. I'll tell you boys that right now.
Okay.
And then let's dig deeper into Gage's dynasty team. Sleeping on Deebo Samuel a little bit here, boys.
That's a fair point. I did see him on your taxi when we were ripping you for your wideouts. I like him, but in that Niners offense, I don't love him.
Oh, come on. The boy gets rushes, too. I mean, the guy is good for at least 3 rushing touchdowns.
No. Maybe. Okay, maybe. Yeah, you might be. Maybe. I would take the under on that.
Oh, BudHole bet.
That's a fucking close one. Because he's good for at least 20 yards on one of those jet sweeps. And sometimes he'll bust it for like a 60-yard tutty.
We got to put the number at a half, though, because we don't like ties or washes. 2.5, I'm out. Give me 3.5, I'll take it.
No, I can't.
Okay, how about 3.25?
No, I want to win it with 3.
How about 4, you win. 2, Scott wins. 3's a tie.
No, I want to win it with 3.
I'm out on that. I think 3 is a possibility because he could have 2 legit and 1 fluke one. He'll never have 3 legit and 1 fluke one.
So how about over 10 touchdowns on the year?
For Debo?
Total.
That's a good
number, dude.
I
like
do
that
it
number.
10.5 is a solid one.
You're lucky that I just got the government stimulus check and I'm feeling a little freeloading with money right now. I kind of like that idea.
What? You just got that shit?
No, a couple weeks ago.
Okay. I was gonna say, man, that took a while.
Did you have
10
direct
tutties?
deposit?
Oh, fuck yeah. Gotta.
Okay. Because I have not gotten mine yet, and I don't have direct deposit set up. So they're supposed to send out last week.
Oh, dude, you'll be paying taxes on yours before you get it, brother.
You don't pay taxes on the stimulus check.
I'm just giving you shit.
I
don't know, dude. 10's a little dicey, man. I feel like 10's.
That's my number. You take the.
It'd be like 6. It'd be like 6 caught and then 3 rushing. 10 touchdown, 9.5. You just moved it to.
Yeah, it's 9.5. So I'll win with 10.
God, you're worse than Vegas.
Dude, my lines are fucking amazing. What are you talking about?
That's a good line. I'll give you that. I'm out on that. I'm not betting that.
Oh my god, you're so scared, Scott.
Well, duh. That's why he's not doing it.
I like a good bet, dude. I like value bets.
I'm pulling up my team now. So
how about this?
All right.
Less than 300 rushing yards for carry on with the Lions.
No, I really don't think he'll even make the roster.
That's fair.
You'd have to have an injury clause in there. And by that, it would just be null and void because he never stays healthy.
Fuck you.
Cool.
I'm just saying, I haven't seen a carry-on highlight in years. Speaking of Vegas, though, you brought it up. The win totals. Guess who's got the highest win total as of right now?
In the division or in the NFL?
In the NFL.
Tampa Bay.
Kansas City.
Kansas City sits at 11.5. Tampa Bay sits in tied for 4th place with 10.
Wow.
So top 3 are as predicted. KC, Ravens, Niners. They each go down a half point from 11.5 to 10.5. Saints and Bucks sit at 10. That's going to be interesting in that division. Both of them sitting at expected to have 10 wins.
Something's got to give there, dude.
Yeah, give me Tampa Bay. Dude, they absolutely clobbered.
Remember this, though, for instance. Like last year, the Vikings ended up at 10, right? But the rest of our division was shit. Detroit and Chicago were not good. That's why we got to 10. So are you going to tell me that Carolina is going to be really bad and Atlanta? Because that's about what it would take for both of them to get to 10. I think Tampa's got a better chance at 10 than New Orleans.
Well, I'm going to pull up the Bucks record real quick, or schedule real quick, because imagine if they split those. That means they'd only have to lose, or they'd have to lose less than 3 to get over 10 wins, 3 to match.
They're not going to split the division games. They'll beat Carolina twice. They'll beat Atlanta twice, and they'll split with New Orleans. They're going to go 5-1.
Okay, I'm even more pissed now that I remember my team here. So I have Will Fuller, the fucking Texans' only receiver.
This fucker's – no, they have Brandon Cooks, dude.
Cooks.
And they have David Johnson. David Johnson's one of the best receiving running backs, isn't he, Gage?
I know, he's on my fucking team. What?
Box.
I got DJ Chark sitting here.
Oh, my God. He almost got cut.
They just drafted Chenault. They still have Keenan Cole.
You don't have a 6'3", fucking 6'4" speedster like Chark, man. That dude is electric, and he's going into his third year.
He almost got cut, dude.
Not even close. And then
for sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me the Dallas drafted wide receiver.
They drafted CeeDee
Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was one of the top 3 receivers.
The best receiver on most people's big boards, dude. Gallup's fantasy value is gone.
Rookie receivers don't do shit. I'm sleeping on N'Keal here.
What about Randy Moss?
Randy,
the greatest of all time. Percy Harvin had a hell of a rookie year.
He's a super freak.
A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel. This last year.
Those were okay years, boys.
Justin Jefferson?
He's on my board, okay?
He better be. You got fucking every pick in the first round.
Thielen, the trade I made with Brandon here for Thielen, I'm drafting Justin Jefferson with your pick.
Go for it, man. I hope you do.
That's a dirty move. I like it. That's a fucking thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, you just see a thumbs up popping out of this screen every single time Gage talks right now.
And then running back, I'm kind of fucked. I was really hoping to re-roll that shit. It's not looking good for me at running back.
At least
okay, so
picks. Are you going to take one with one of your first? What do you sit at 4 picks? You only have 2?
I have 3 first-rounders. 2 of them are going to be running backs. They got it.
What are your pick numbers at?
I think I was –
I'll tell you.
Yeah, I kind of made a horseshit trade with Nasty Nate. I traded him the 10 pick for like the 3 or the 2 pick, I think.
You own pick 4, 6, and 8.
So you got 3 in the top 10. That's solid.
Very nice.
So theoretically here, you might end up with DeAndre Swift at 4. And if you got him and had him and carry on, you'd be okay with that.
I'm set. I am set. With DJ going to Texans, I'm liking my running back core with –
Is Clyde Edwards-Helaire the drop dead number 1 now, being he went to Kansas City?
That's what I've seen.
And then Jonathan Taylor's probably the number 2 because he went to Indy and they have a really good O-line.
Well, let me see. I was looking at the Rookie of the Year odds a little bit ago, and my computer is slow. I know where that stimulus check is going towards. DeAndre Swift is second to win Rookie of the Year for running – well, in the running back rank. Then it goes Taylor. Then it goes Cam Akers, Zach Moss. So it goes Edwards, Swift, and Taylor. Those are the top 3 running backs. And I would say that's probably – I mean, if you're going to win Rookie of the Year, you're obviously putting up numbers. So that means something good for fantasy.
That's pretty sweet.
Gage, you're in a prime position, dude. I'm just going to say it. You're in a prime spot to get DeAndre Swift and get 2 of the stud top wide receivers. You could get Swift, CD, and possibly get another running back with that 8 pick or another stud wide receiver. You could end up with like A.J. Dillon from Green Bay. I would snipe him from Biak and feel good about it, especially with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams fucking potentially both being free agents after the year. Dude, God, I love Dynasty talk.
Dude, you have a really good chance to have a hell of a draft and still be saying, well, there's always next year.
There's always next year. Fuck you.
Gage,
Okay.
what's been your league motto this year? I'm only 1 year away. What's going to be your motto after this year's draft? I'm only 1 year away.
I can't get any younger. I don't know, boys. I got Justin Tucker. Even looking at my tight ends,
It's a
man.
fucking kicker. Who gives a shit?
When you have the best one, who gives a shit, right?
You do know that on the docket for the league this year is dropping kickers from your
I
teams,
am
period.
going to fight that adamantly.
Well,
And you're the only one.
No, fuck that. Get a good kicker, you dumbasses. It's not my fault our league is full of like super elite, talented fantasy experts who drop defenses and kickers and load it up on prospects. It's not my fault. I'm holding on to Justin Tucker.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you won the championship last year. Oh, wait, you didn't even make the playoffs.
Oh. Well, there's always next year.
Dude,
hold on. Is your team a championship team if you still have Justin Tucker on your team next year? If he leaves, does that eliminate you from playoffs?
Instantly.
Instantly. That's kind of what I thought.
No, dude, tight end, even my tight end core. I got Ian Thomas, I got TJ Hawkinson, and Swerve and Irvin. Like, I am deep.
But you're only going to keep two of those. So you're going to drop Thomas.
No, I'm known as being a two tight end guy. I've started two tight ends against you and Scott.
How'd that turn out?
Yeah, but only one team in this league did that, won a championship doing that. And that's the McCluster Fucks.
Let's do it again, boys. McClusterfuck's got lucky as hell. I mean, how is he feeling about that DeAndre Hopkins trade? Is he still feeling like he won that?
I don't know. I know he's shopping Hopkins pretty hard, but that's because he's trying to get some picks this year because he has no picks in this draft. So he reached out to me about Nuke, and I was like, dude, I want to keep my picks I have. I have 2 picks in the first round this year, and I like my roster. I want to keep my picks. I want to make some picks and get some rookies in here. I need a little bit of an infusion of youth on my squad. Like my taxi squad looks pitiful. I got Alan Lazard, whose stock went up just because Green Bay doesn't draft a wideout, but like he's not good. I watched him. Benny Snell's okay. And then I got Noah Fant, who's going to be my starting tight end, but, like, fuck, my team needs a – Yeah, dude. Who knows? Washington didn't draft a running back either.
You have 3 QBs. You have Jameis, Winston, Drew Lock.
Stop. I have no QBs. I have none. If you got 3, you got none, brother.
Fucking
Fair.
But you're deep at running back, which is all that matters.
And wide out.
When you trade Cook, dude, you're going to have 3-4 starters there.
I'm only trading Cook if it's for pick 1 and some other pieces.
No, I'm saying the Vikings trade Cook because he's going to hold out for his.
He's not holding out. He said he's going to play.
He's already attending meetings. What? Yeah, he's already attending meetings.
He's doing the voluntary meetings, which to me makes it seem like it's optimistic that we're going to get a deal done.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be – I think it'll be fair for both sides. I could see it being like $7-8 million a year maybe, 4 for 32 with like 20 guaranteed.
Oh, that'd be awesome if he took that.
But we'll see. What else is there draft talk? I feel like next week we can tease an episode for next week when we get Star back in. We'll go through and grade all the draft picks, all the teams, because I don't feel like grading without Star here is the right thing to do.
It's not right. I mean, he is our draft expert.
He's going to go first, and we're going to be like, I said A too, you know.
Yeah, and I'll try to go toe-to-toe with him and say a couple stupid things before I get put in my place and step back a little bit. So we'll kind of leave it up to him to grade a bunch of these drafts.
You can't accurately do it without our encyclopedia.
No doubt. I would say, though, let's go around just for sake of the episode here. Let's go around, give a grade for the Vikings draft, your high points, your low points, what you wanted that they didn't get, and we'll end the episode with that. For the Vikings, Brandon, how do you grade the Vikings, and what do you think overall of their draft?
I'm going to go ahead and give us an A. We got Justin Jefferson, so we replaced Diggs right there. So even though that extra pick just went to his replacement. I like Jefferson. I think he's got some high potential. Seeing the highlight clips that they showed on ESPN, he can go up and catch contested balls. Gladney, he was that second tier of cornerbacks, but he was the best available or one of the best there. So picking up him, that Dantzler, I didn't know much about him, but heard he's kind of a dog at the cornerback position. So we got him. Ezra Cleveland is a solid guy too that I think is going to be a good plug-in guy in a couple of years, but maybe not this year. And then we really hit it in the later rounds. We got that Lynch guy out of
Baylor.
Was it Baylor? And then we got his
Yep.
teammate. I think it was a Troy Dye, the linebacker.
Troy Dye, yep.
So both of those guys, solid picks. And even that QB that I think is it Nate Stanley? Is that what his name was?
Yep.
He was a 3-sport athlete, and he was the best athlete. It was in Wisconsin for each sport when he played in high school. So he's a hell of an athlete. He played well at Iowa. I mean, he's got a huge arm, a cannon, and so I think he could be a solid player for us. I would have liked to have seen another wide receiver. I don't know if I'm sold on BC at this point. So I think with one of those 1,000 picks that we had in the draft, we probably could have packaged that to get a Tyler Johnson in the 4th round. But outside of that, I think we hit every need that we had on our roster.
Gage?
Well said, Brandon. The only thing
I rehearsed it in the shower like 6 times this morning.
Completely agree with you. All the way across the board, they hit every position of need. The only thing I would have really, really loved to see that later round draft picks traded for Trent Williams. I get that he declined the Vikings in some sort of way. It sucks. Go ahead. You're gonna get whooped in the playoffs by the fucking Vikings, and
Yeah.
who knows who's gonna be starting on the line. But that's really the only takeaway I got. I wish they could have. Where did Jake Fromm end up going?
He got drafted by Buffalo, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Really? In what round?
It was later.
4th, I believe
5th.
it was.
4th, 5th, something like that. Yep, middle rounds.
I would have taken a swing at him. I mean, it's all just prospects and who gives a shit, but he was a big arm guy I really liked. But overall, I mean, you got backups, you got depth, you got defensive backs, you got linemen, you got edge rushers, you got your Diggs replacement. No complaints at all.
Yeah, I would kind of go with what you guys are saying. I'd give him like a B+. I would have gone into the A territory if they would have been able to trade a couple mid-round picks to get Trent Williams in here, just because I feel like he would have been an immediate upgrade and upgraded our O-line. Whereas Ezra Cleveland's a nice player, but he doesn't immediately upgrade our O-line, which I think is still the spot that needs the biggest upgrade. And I also stay in the B range just because I feel like a lot of what we did is just replacing what we're losing. It's not a lot of upgrading currently for this upcoming year. It's possible that you could get these guys to develop and be something a little bit earlier, but there's no guarantee on that. So I think if we would have done what we did and also gotten a Trent Williams, that would have moved you into that A category because you would have strengthened your O-line and then plugged all the holes, whereas we just kind of plugged holes. I do think we had a lot of nice prospects. We got some nice depth now at cornerback with Gladney and Dantzler. So, and then we also drafted some nice D-line depth. I really like that Willix, that DN that we drafted. Lieber, that's
we got him in the 6th round too.
Yeah, and he compared him to like a Robeson. He's got a high motor. He's going to be a good workhorse for us. And then I like that Lynch too. And at D tackle, he has a possibility to really play some meaningful downs at 3 technique for us and rush the passer. So I like what we did overall. I just feel like we're missing that one big splash, like Gage said. And if we would have got Trent Williams, that would have really been that kind of taken us to that next level. Whether he would have stayed healthy or not, he hasn't been healthy, I don't think, for almost 5 years.
Just in his health.
Yeah.
One thing I will add, if we're just like grading the draft here, I think we could also revisit our free agency or our off-season draft or our off-season grades. Because I would say overall in the off-season, it kind of knocks my score, but just for this draft, I think they nailed it.
And I think we can also tease an episode of now that the draft is over and free agency actually just opened up today where you can sign free agents without losing a compensatory pick. So I think we should kind of give that a couple weeks to air out and see what teams do there. And then in a couple weeks coming up on the podcast, next week we'll grade the draft with Star here. And then the following week we can start handing out some overall off-season grades and kind of figure out where teams are really at coming into the year. So I think it's a good idea to do that at some point, but let's let some of these free agents fall because there's still some big dominoes to fall with Clowney and
Big time.
Well, Clowney's the biggest one, but that center today for Seattle just got cut. Who's a pretty decent player.
Yep.
So there's Jason Peters is still out there. He's older, but he's a really good left tackle still. So there's some big dominoes that could possibly fall yet. So a few things to find out there.
League.
I don't know if you guys got anything else to add before we sign off here, or should we just?
How many wins do you think? Let's just predict the NFC North right now. Where do you think things land with the signings that we had, the draft picks that we had as of right now? How do you see the division playing out?
I personally think the Vikings are sitting at your 10-11 range. I think 11 is definitely a possibility. And then I think, quite honestly, Green Bay took kind of a step back. And part of the reason I think they take a step back is just because their schedule is going to be a lot more difficult. And I feel like a lot of their wins last year were kind of fluke wins. So I feel like they're going to be more in that 8, 9, 10 range, 10 maybe more like 8, 9. Chicago's looking like a 6 or 7 win team, and Detroit might get to 6. I don't really love Detroit's draft, quite honestly. So I would stick them more in that 5, 6 range. Chicago 6, 7, 8. Green Bay 7, 8, 9, maybe 10. The Vikings, though, I think they're going to be above a 500 team, barring an injury. So I think the Vikings are the favorites to win the North. Gage?
Totally agree. If injuries could totally affect all this, but I'll just go finite. Give me the Vikings with 12 wins, the Pack with 9. Let's go with the Bears at 7, and then I'm going to put the Lions all the way down at 3 or 4. I think they may be tanking for Trevor, to tell you the truth.
I like that a lot. I could definitely see that.
Well, I don't think the Vikes win 12 games. I don't see a loss on our roster or on our schedule. So I'm saying 16-0. Yeah, undefeated. I just don't see anybody stopping us at this point now with that killer draft we had.
Vikings are undefeated.
That's not bias at all either, truthfully.
Not one bit.
That is not one bit bias. But if I was going to be like a negative person, like other fans that would be grading us, I'd probably say we're about 11. Yeah.
Where's the down vote? They don't have a down vote?
Nope, it's only up votes. Might as well hit it.
Fine.
So, yeah, I could see about 11 wins. Truthfully, I don't know. I could see the Bears or the Packers kind of flip-flopping there. If they go with Nick Foles, I could see them maybe taking the Packers on and getting 8 or 9 wins, and the Packers are sitting at like 7, 8 wins. So I could see that going either way. And then Detroit, I don't know. They're Detroit. It doesn't matter what they do. They're Detroit. So it's Patricia and Quinn's last hurrah in the division right now. They're going to be out of jobs at the end of the year. So I see them at like 4 or 5 wins, probably. Bottom of the totem pole. But they're going to win just enough games to not help their organization out. Let's just put it that way.
For sure. Which is totally the Lions.
It is. It's like the Dolphins could have had – well, they probably wanted to, but they could have had anybody they wanted to, and then they started winning games. Don't do that, guys. Come on, not now. It's the worst move you could do.
Yeah, so that's where we got the NFC North. We'll have to check in with Star to see where he's got it going. But until Star's back next week and we're back with you, why don't you guys have a blessed week?
And help with Canner Preventative.
Go jerk off.
There you go.
Bye.
Bye.